Brad Marchand just continually sabotages himself by doing stupid things. And the other night, last night for us as we're recording, going after Tristan Jarry, given his rap sheet, how many games does he get for that one?
It's interesting because it's all over the map on social media, right? Like there's some people like, it's like, oh, come on. He didn't do anything, didn't hurt anybody. He should get an in-person hearing and he should be at least 6 games or whatever. It'd probably fall in the middle a little bit. Like he just got suspended 2 months ago, eh?
Yeah, and that's a pre.
And he's got 7 suspensions. Like, come on, and it bugs me because I love Brad Marchand. I love him.
Right.
I love the way he plays the game. I think his talent is really gets overshadowed by the stupid stuff that he does.
Yeah,
I almost said it. By the stupid stuff that he does. I love him as a player, and I really like him as a person. I've talked to him a couple of times.
Yeah,
I really like him. He's a good guy. Like it's interesting because it's so weird because like it's always that way, right? Like the goons. The guys who were enforcers in the 80s and everything, they were the biggest teddy bears going off the ice, right? Yeah. Like they were the first ones to go to the hospital and visit kids who were sick and do all the charity work, and they were so nice and everything. And then they put on some hockey equipment and they lose their minds. But you keep thinking, oh, maybe Brad Marchand's gotten it and that's why he's playing so well. And then he does something like last night, and I mean, I know, he didn't, the end result wasn't devastating, but usually the way the inaptly named player safety department works is that they take into account the result in the length of the suspension, not in whether or not he should be suspended.
Right.
So the act itself is in isolation that way. And it was pretty bad. Like, it was pretty bad, especially when he got a stick in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's got to sit for at least 3, maybe 4. Not 10. Yeah. But he's got to sit for a couple.
So, I mean, I've given up on guessing what the aptly named Department of Player Safety.
Good on you. That's a good move by you. That's a good move by you because you don't have their wheel of justice, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I've given up on that, but here's what I'll say. In sucker punching specifically in this sport makes me so angry.
Yeah.
Firstly, I agree with you. Like, even as a Habs guy, like Marchand's a fun guy to watch. And like last night when he was stopping Crosby from getting a stick, like that is just such a good way to get under somebody's skin. Doesn't hurt nobody, but just will piss you off to no end. Like that's just such a great move. But if we have a sport, and I know that you have strong feelings about fighting in this sport, and if we have a sport that says you're allowed to fight because you need a pressure valve, right? And that's the argument. Okay, right. So I accept your premise that we need a pressure valve.
I don't.
No, but I'm just let's hypothetically say I accept your premise that we need a pressure valve. Then why is it then okay to sucker punch a guy? You already have the pressure valve.
Right.
You already have a way that you're allowed to punch a guy. So and Chara used to do it in the scrums where you just see a little fist fly out of the scrum and then he'd skate out of the scrum. And Marchand has done it on several occasions where he sucker punched a guy. I think that a sucker punch should be like 20-game suspension.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think it should just be like completely gotten out of the game because, I don't know if it's apocryphal or not, but the story about Harry Houdini died from a sucker punch.
Right.
I don't know if that's true.
Apparently, yeah, because he used to let guys punch him in the stomach. And
he did like 100 sit-ups a day.
And he'd talk about how strong his abdominals were.
Yeah.
But then some big guy drilled him when he wasn't
paying attention.
When he wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And now that's what I think so. That's what my dad told me anyways.
Yeah, that's what my mom told me.
I'm going with that.
Yeah. But my point is that if you're going to have the premise that we need fighting in the game to have a pressure valve, then make that the pressure valve.
Right.
Get rid of the sucker punches. I would rather see a guy square off against another guy than see some poor unsuspecting victim just get decked in the side of the head. And I don't care about what the result is, because at the end of the day, okay, so he's not concussed maybe. We don't know because we don't have the news yet, right?
Right.
But let's say he's not concussed. Great. That doesn't mean that what he did was any better.
Right.
That just means that you got lucky.
Right.
And the fact is that head injuries, concussion is more of a buzzword than anything, because head injuries are cumulative and you don't need to be concussed to wind up with CTE. You can have no concussions in your whole life, but if you've gotten repeated head injuries, you can still get CTE. So concussion or not, it drives me crazy.
It's interesting. I think you bring up a really good point, and for all the faults of the player safety department, and there are many, they do tend to frown on this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like they really frown on stick work, and they frown on things like sucker punch, and they're always George Peros's big thing is willing combatant.
Right.
You have to be a willing combatant. If you're not a willing combatant, then then it seems a little more egregious if a guy does something to a guy who's not a quote unquote willing combatant.
Right.
I can't believe that's just accepted as part of the vernacular in this sport anyways. But Tristan Jarry was not a willing combatant.
No chance.
Yeah.
And so, I would be doing away with the sucker punches. If it were up to me, I would keep fighting in the game, but any form of premeditated fighting, any form of stage fight, and that would be automatic suspensions, and sucker punches would be automatic suspensions.
Yeah, but you know what? That's what you get. Like,
I know it's
there's already 5 pages of fighting rules in the rule book. Yeah. Like it's the rule that takes up the most space in the rule book.
No chokeholds
of any rule in hockey.
Yeah.
And now, just take it out. Just take it out. Because if you take it out, then you don't have any of these things happening.
Yeah.
It's conceivably.
Yeah. And there are sports, violent sports, football, rugby, etc., that have virtually no fighting. Right?
Virtually no fighting. Yes.
Yeah.
And the argument that you need the safety valve, that's where I think it falls flat on its face. Because I think players in other sports are every bit as passionate and every bit as as physical and every bit as hot and they want to win just as much as anybody else, anybody who plays hockey. It's not something that's unique to hockey that people are competitive.
Well, do you Ken Dryden obviously wrote a book about this, maybe more than one. And one of the things that he said was that fighting, the original idea was that he didn't want people hitting each other with their sticks.
Right.
Because their sticks were these big, heavy wooden things, and so the fists were less damaging. Well, now the sticks are these light, whatever things where
carbon fiber,
and they wouldn't do the same damage as a solid piece of hickory.
Right.
But these players are machines now.
Yeah.
Right. They're athletic machines. And so all of a sudden, where the fists were only so dangerous back then, but the sticks were very dangerous.
Right.
The sticks are now less dangerous and the fists are much more dangerous.
Yeah.
Getting a hit by, there's exceptions to this rule. I mean, we've probably both seen the picture of Gordie Howe fishing.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to get punched by him.
No.
But, I think that there's a point to be made for that in terms of this original idea of the pressure valve.
Right. And with fighting, it's interesting. We could talk about another incident too. Marcus Foligno last night.
Yes.
With the knee in the fight.
Yes.
And he still said heat of the moment. It was heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Which brings us to
wait.
I had a moment. That's what I want. That's what I want Brad Marchand to say.
Yes.
When he's standing in front of George Peros. I had a moment.
That was your best tweet in several months.
It was, eh?
That was your best tweet in several months. I showed it to everyone I know. It was great. It was, for those that didn't see it and follow Ken Campbell _27. It's actually here.
Something like that.
Ken _Campbell 27. It's on my computer here.
Okay.
Follow Ken _Campbell 27 on Twitter. But for those that don't know, Ken tweeted, I hope that Brad Marchand goes to George the Violent Gentleman Peros and says, I had a moment.
And I've done a bunch of other really good things.
Yeah, and I've done a bunch of other really good things.
And just see how that works out for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Just see.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.